Okay, so it's 3 o'clock, and so we might get started because we've got people online as well as coming in. I'm sure we're going to have some more people rolling in. So welcome to this GigCity event. My name is Sandra Valance and I am the CEO of SABRENet. Actually, I will take my mask off because I feel like I'm sort of 1.5 meters away. So I've got a little bit of immunocompromised due to some treatment, but actually, almost more importantly, I'm meant to be travelling in about 10 days' time. And bizarrely, the US still requires you to have a negative PCR test to get into the US. So I'm sort of trying to avoid getting COVID as much as I can, even though I've been trying to avoid COVID for the last 6 months, like everyone really. It's not always that easy. So together with EscapeNet, SABRENet delivered GigCity on behalf of the Department for Innovation and Skills. So we'd like to welcome everyone in the room and also those online. I would also really like to welcome the people who have joined us from Whyalla and Mount Gambier. So MIMP deliver GigCity in Whyalla and Mount Gambier. So this is, I think, the first event they've been able to join us on. So a big welcome to anyone who is here from Whyalla or Mount Gambier and online. Collectively, we're seeking to enable innovation that relies on high-speed internet. So, but in 2020, we also know it's not just about high speed, we need it to be secure, we need it to be cyber secure. So let us start with a few formalities. For those here in the room, you need to go to the restroom. It's out the door to the right and to the left, I believe. If there is an emergency over the next couple of hours, you can evacuate either outside door C or door B, and the muster point is on the Botanic High School grounds, so over sort of that way. Fingers crossed we don't need to work that. So please be aware we are recording the session and we will make it available to those who weren't able to attend today. And for those who are online and have any questions, please put them into the chat box. We are going to have a Q&A session at the end, and so certainly you can ask any questions you'd like then. So let's actually move on to the welcome to country. So we really wish to acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, physical, emotional, intellectual and economic connection, and the educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We especially honour the Kaurna elders of the Adelaide Plains, upon whose land this event takes place today. So we've got 3 fabulous presentations for you today. What we see is that GigCity is a unique location benefit to Adelaide's 23 innovation precincts. I would put it to you, where in the world can you get gigabit connectivity for $50, or actually less than $50 a month with no lock-in contract? There's probably not too many places in the world. So with the growing alarming threat of cybersecurity incidents, we also want to make sure it's as secure as possible. Last year, once again, together with the Department for Innovation and Skills and EscapeNet, we engaged CyberOps to come and look under the sheets and tell us about where our cybersecurity vulnerabilities were. We were travelling okay. I'm going to say that collectively, we've probably got about an A-. Now, I don't know if CyberOps is here. I know that actually there was someone coming from CyberOps. They might give us a different grade, but that's where we thought we were. Anyway, of course, there were improvements to be made, and we continue to improve, and we've certainly responded to those vulnerabilities. We also wanted to look at the balancing act of what could we provide within the Internet Service Provision Network from a cybersecurity point of view to the GigCity community, but also what really came down to the responsibilities of businesses within GigCity themselves. So they were lenses that we took to that study. But we also needed to understand from our customers what it was they were currently doing and where they saw their needs. So as part of achieving that outcome, we incorporated cybersecurity into the GigCity Research that we did in 2021. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Luke, I was going to say Luke Pittman. No, let's go with Nicola Pitt and Luke Sexton from Action Market Research. So Luke and Nicola have now worked with us twice in 2019 and 2021 to understand the satisfaction with GigCity and the impact that
GigCity has had on the businesses that use it. This was actually really invaluable work for us to actually help get ongoing funding for GigCity, which we now have until 2024. We're actually often, as individuals, asked to participate in research. We often don't find out the results. So what we wanted to do today was share the results of that research and also then go on to share what we're going to be doing as improvements from that research going forward. So Luke and Nicola, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. I see John online as well. Good afternoon, everyone, and hello to everyone online joining us today. So as Sandra mentioned, we were engaged by the department, SABRENet and EscapeNet last year to undertake a study on the satisfaction and impact of GigCity. Some of you here today may have even participated in that research, and we would thank you very much if you were the participants. We know, as Sandra said, surveys come a dime a dozen, but we'd love to be able to survey you, and we do survey a lot at the time of the research. If you had done the survey, you would have known it was quite a long survey. Today, I'm just going to go through a couple of the top line results, just looking at the sort of the top takeaways from the research, the satisfaction and the impact, and then I'm going to throw to Luke, who's going to go into the detail around the cybersecurity review that was a component of that research. So to give you some idea, what we did last year was we went online for the customers and co-working users. We got about 76 responses, and we surveyed all of the precinct managers either by face-to-face or over the telephone or Zoom, these kinds of things. So a broad range of participants that came through. When we looked at the customers and co-working users that were included, this slide is just there to show you. So current customers we define as people that have a direct relationship with EscapeNet. They're paying their internet bills and are getting access to GigCity directly. Co-working users are really more those people that are coming into one of the precincts and accessing GigCity via, either their co-working space or a hotspot or so on and so on. But we wanted to include them because they are technically using GigCity and can have a say. So over here you can see the majority of our survey did have current customers, but also a mix of co-working users. We also had a range of precinct types, so we just grouped them as researchers. We like to group and theme things. So sort of group the types of innovation precincts into kind of your tech and innovation focused precincts, your creative ones, general business, and so on. And what you can see there is that we just had a really good mix of different precincts included in the research, but really Tonsley, Tech Park, and Lot 14 were most of the participants of this research. They came from those precincts. So we looked at, well, from the precinct manager's perspective. Now, again, we were asking these questions in August last year. So we asked the question, over the last 12 months prior, how many tenancies did you have at your precinct? Did it change? Did it grow? Did it remain the same? And across the 2021 period, precinct managers told us that about 60% were saying that the precincts had actually increased the number of tenancies. 32% remained the same, and 9% had reduced. Now, again, in the context of that year, if you think back, that was the year of pandemic madness, lockdowns, and so on. So that precincts were still increasing their number of tenancies is quite significant. And then again, looking ahead, so again, we were asking this in August last year, precinct managers looking ahead, the majority, 68% of precincts were expecting to increase the number of tenancies, with 26% expected to remain the same. And these tables on the right here are really just around, again, those themes, and you can see that the tech and innovation themed precincts, for lack of a better term, they're the ones really driving that growth. And if you're based in one of those precincts, you would probably you'd be feeling that in terms of the number of businesses moving in. So overall, we found that 60% of precincts have now been connected to GigCity for 3 or more years. By our count, there's around 933 businesses across all innovation precincts. That's by our count in terms of working with the department, EscapeNet, SABRENet, talking to people. We don't know if that's the most accurate number, but that is cybersecurity working in action, because we shouldn't actually know the exact number. And out of those, we estimate that about 468 are connected to GigCity. So about half of the businesses that are at innovation precincts are connected. And what we heard by and large from precinct managers really was that a lot of precincts are already acting or have at capacity in their tenancies. Even some of them outgrowing their space, looking for more space. And again, this is in August last year, so I'd expect that that's probably even changed a little bit now. So when we looked at access to GigCity and how it's contributed to overall growth in terms of revenue and employment, again, for those of you that did do the survey, you know that we have a lot of questions about revenue, employment, impact, and these kinds of things. These are our requirements in terms of what we're collecting around economic measurements. But what we see is that around 58% of GigCity users, again, GigCity users being co-working users and customers, just grouped together, 58% of GigCity users have reported revenue and/or employment growth in the last 12 months. And of those, just under half believe that GigCity has contributed to that growth. Slightly higher for co-working space users than current customers, but overall a pretty strong result there. Now, when we look at satisfaction overall, so from a precinct manager perspective, overall the majority of precinct managers, 70% of precinct managers, which do include co-working space managers for some of the precincts, they're very satisfied with GigCity, scoring either a 9 or 10 out of 10. And in fact, over 50% of precinct managers that we spoke to gave GigCity a 10 out of 10, which is technically in a research world a perfect score, Sandra. And in terms of the customers and co-working users, around 2/3 of GigCity users, 66%, are very satisfied with GigCity, and a further 24% are somewhat satisfied, but you're still sitting around that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 overall satisfaction. And when we ask the reasons why, similar to the 2019 research, the same 3 reasons for why are you satisfied with GigCity remain, and it's not on the slide here, but it's 3 things. It's fast, it's cheap, and it works. And so as long as GigCity continues to do that, we believe that the satisfaction with GigCity is going to continue. Now, if we looked at the impact of GigCity on overall business growth and development, we see that 60%, just under 60%, 59% of GigCity users believe that GigCity has had an impact on facilitating their business growth and development, with the key business benefits of GigCity, including faster processing of information and receiving and sending of data, live conference meetings, especially the case, I think, in the last 2 years. GigCity has been great for that, and ease and accessibility of high-speed communications. And this last point that I'm going to make is how can GigCity help in the future? What we heard from co-working users and GigCity customers was just continue to provide a reliable internet connection, explore options to provide a fast internet service to those who are working from home, obviously understandable in the last couple of years and moving forward, and also extension of the network to more locations. So those are really just the top line findings. Again, those of you that have participated in the research, you'll know that there were a lot of other things that we can go, and we'd be here for hours if we went through all the results. But we did do this cybersecurity review, which I think is the focus of today. And I'm now going to hand to Luke to be able to take us through that.
Okay, thanks, Nicola. Cybersecurity and internet resiliency are of increasing concern to Australian businesses. I'm sure that a lot of us can have a think about recent media reports talking about data breaches that you've seen. Back in December last year, 80,000 South Australian public servants had their employment records hacked in a ransomware attack. Only last month, there was a large attack with many recipients of the National Disability Insurance Scheme having a lot of their details compromised. In reaction to this, what we're seeing in the marketplace is that buyers of goods and services are starting to require businesses to undertake some pretty detailed and onerous IT security assessments. This is in reaction to these big things that are happening out there, and businesses need to react. In addition to that, we're starting to see that government agencies are asking for cyber liability insurance in addition to public liability and professional indemnity insurance. So we've got a big impact on businesses who are needing to actually address this. It is now almost additional cost of entry on South Australian businesses to actually operate. And thankfully, Sandra was thinking ahead with this and wanted to actually undertake some research
I think
too.
let's share the innovation and skills.
So we've undertaken this research to really collect this information, provide a benchmark. So what does it actually look like out there amongst GigCity users? And let's have a look at the results. Okay, first things we asked is about for precinct managers. Bring up both of those there. So the first thing on the left-hand side there, we're talking about what are the additional services that precinct managers might see their tenants be interested in the precincts. And what we found is that precinct managers believe that tenants would be interested in some additional cybersecurity services. In particular, 63% are interested in providing an internet firewall service, 61% would be interested in providing encrypting traffic end-to-end, and 54% would be interested in having a virtual private network service to be provided. We also asked about who is actually responsible for cybersecurity. Is it the tenant's responsibility or is it someone else? And what we found is that 43% of precinct managers believe that it is actually solely the responsibility of the tenant. However, an equal number have indicated it's actually a shared responsibility with GigCity's network manager. And there's still about 14% there that actually thinks, well, it's actually GigCity's responsibility to take care of it. So what we can say with that is that there is actually an understanding out there amongst precinct managers that GigCity needs to play some part in looking after cybersecurity for its users. And we'll give you a sense here of the types of comments and a flavour of what we actually heard. I'll just read out a couple of these. For independent businesses, cybersecurity is their problem. You can assist, but you can't be responsible for all of them. Each business will have unique requirements. Ultimately, tenants should be responsible and protect themselves, but small businesses don't have the resources. There is a community service obligation at a higher level to help small business with this, especially when there is a government element to the precinct. And it is important to protect our end users. We don't want people attacked from a personal perspective. So you can get that sense there that there's a shared responsibility here that GigCity needs to play a part in helping them look after cybersecurity. Now, moving on to GigCity users, we've asked them a whole range of questions about cybersecurity. I'll go through each of these now. The first is regarding resilience and reliability of the GigCity connection and how important is that to their business. And what we found is that overall 59% consider resilience and reliability of the GigCity connection to be very important. But only 21% currently have a resiliency and failover strategy in place for their business. That's a big gap. That's something that we need to address. What are the cybersecurity activities undertaken by the business? This might be hard to read on the screen. I apologise for that. It's quite a long list. I'll read out what are the ones that are the most key here for you. The most common cybersecurity activities that current customers are undertaking, those are those with a direct connection with GigCity, include use of long passwords, undertaking backups, email spam filters, and multi-factor authentication. All are 70% or more. But it's also always important when you see a hierarchy question like this to actually look at the other end of the chart, because it actually tells you what are the things that aren't happening either. And so what we can see here is that only 14% are actively practicing Essential 8, 33% have a next-gen firewall, 35% are using intrusion protection and ID systems, and 37% have endpoint security. When we look at co-working space users, the thing that pops out immediately is that the proportion of people using cybersecurity activities is much lower. And we'd expect these businesses to be much smaller businesses, sole traders and the like. So we'd expect it to be lower, but this is where the support needs to come in. This is where the cybersecurity efforts need to be helped. What they are doing though, more than 50% of these businesses are undertaking backups, latest security patches on operating systems, long passwords and encryptions. What about VPN usage? Well, overall 45% of GigCity users currently access their network via a VPN, and they're doing so to access their networks remotely. That's how they need to be able to do it. And their current security is over the internet is actually via either a VPN or end-to-end encryption, some kind of other end-to-end encryption service that's undertaken by almost two-thirds of the customers. Business continuity plan. Well, this is a surprising finding. Only 28% of businesses, GigCity users, have a business continuity plan. This is a major gap. We need to get this rectified. This is what we found here is that those that have a business continuity plan are reviewing these and tested only on an ad hoc basis or annually. And this plays a key part in those IT security assessments, this particular element. Additional cybersecurity features. So what kind of additional features would GigCity users like to see? And amongst current customers, we found that the interest is highest for email protection. 37% are interested in that. and 39% are interested in the internet firewall service. And amongst co-working space users, an email protection service is the most interested extra service here at 54% would be interested in that. And we also captured some other comments. We've coded these and thematically coded them. And what we found is the key themes that popped out is that GigCity should be providing some advice and additional training and the resources around that. And also some kind of security statement that GigCity could provide, talking about the security that GigCity actually does provide them. And a couple of these comments here of interest is directly promoting cybersecurity training awareness for small business would be a good idea, even if it's just to help make people aware of contemporary issues. It'd be handy to have a statement from GigCity on what security you do offer your customers. So overall, in conclusion for this section, we can see precinct managers are really can see that GigCity should be looking after its customers in some part around its service, while ultimately solely, the responsibility solely relies with the customer itself. GigCity needs to play a part, hold the hand through this particular time. Customers themselves are not fully there yet. We've got some customers who are doing a lot, but some actually still need a helping hand, especially those smaller businesses. And so our main key recommendation from our research was for GigCity and the team behind the scenes to develop a cybersecurity framework and to be able to help these customers through. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, a big thank you.
Thank you. And the other thing I remember that I was meant to do at the beginning to say, you probably should put your phones to silent. So I'm just going to put mine to silent because I'm sure my daughter's going to ring any moment. Okay. So from the research, we can see there is demand for assistance to support cybersecurity, and for good reason. We also know that cybersecurity is a fast evolving threat. And how do you actually keep up? There's so much information to keep up with. Small and medium-sized businesses are particularly vulnerable to cyber attack, with over 65,000 incidents reported in 2021 and some 33 billion in stolen funds in Australia. So that was a year ago. So I'm suspecting that this year it's even that those numbers are both up. So why is it? Why is the dark side of technology so appealing? And there is an acronym for this around the motivators for cybercrime, and it's MICE. So who can take a stab at what the M stands for?
Money.
Money, yep, very good. And the other ones get a little bit harder. I, what do you reckon the I stands for? Intelligence? Good suggestions. Ideology. The C, what do you reckon the C stands for? Conscience, one. And E, what do you reckon the E stands for? This is perhaps what we thought that most hackers might have been motivated by back in the day. Yeah, that's it. So, what do you think is the biggest reason of those four behind cyber attacks? Money, money, money. Yep, absolutely. It is definitely money. It's driving the most number of attacks. So startups and scale-ups are likely to be most vulnerable to that money motivator. So it's really important that you actually make yourself less attractive to be one of those targets. So I'm really delighted now to hand over to Paula Oliver and Sophie Bevan from the Australian Cyber Collaboration Centre to talk about the new cybersecurity workshops being made available for free to the GigCity community to improve your cyber security awareness and posture. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandra, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paula Oliver. I'm the interim CEO for the Australian Cyber Collaboration Centre, and joining me today is Sophie Bevan, who's our Member Relations Manager. We're delighted to be able to talk to you today to give you some background about what A3C does, what our purpose and mission is, some of the services that we can offer small businesses at large, but in particular today, what we can offer for GigCity businesses specifically. So just to begin with some background around A3C, who we are and what we do. So A3C is a mission-driven and not-for-profit organisation that's committed to utilising the knowledge and the expertise of its members to be able to uplift Australia's cyber resilience and capabilities nationwide. So as a member-based organisation, we were established back in July 2020 with support from the South Australian Government in an acknowledgement to the significance of this sector and the importance of cybersecurity for the economy at large. And our core mission being to build that awareness and that resilience across all of Australians' corporates, our SMEs and government and our academic sector, and to assist businesses in understanding how to actually navigate the cybersecurity ecosystem. And with over 140,000 small businesses sitting right here in South Australia alone, we recognise they are the backbone of our economy. And it is essential that we protect them. It's essential that they're resilient, and it's essential for our state's prosperity, in fact, for our nation's prosperity, when we look at that landscape, when it broadens out at a national level. So through this purpose-built infrastructure that we have here at Lot 14, it's important to note that the mission that we drive isn't just the local one, it is in fact a national one. And we see this centre as being South Australia's contribution to the national cybersecurity agenda. And so in our centre and through the collaboration of our members and our tenants, we aim to foster and accelerate greater collaboration across industry, across academia and across government in order to educate people, but to also incubate ideas, to build that resilience and to partner through our members to help drive greater impacts and greater outcomes for the nation. And just a bit of a snapshot, and some of you might be going on the tour later on to go through the office and to see our range upstairs, but you can see here that we have occupancy on our ground floor and level 1 of the Eleanor Harold building here. And we offer those collaboration spaces, those co-working environments and so on. But noting these aren't just for cybersecurity companies, these are offered to a breadth of businesses and types of businesses across sectors, across industry. Within our facilities, we actually have dedicated cyber training academy and testing facilities. And those really are aimed at helping increase the supply of skilled workers to businesses. We know that that is a short supply currently, and we know they're in demand. So helping pump the talent out to the market is definitely one of our goals. As well as testing capability, and this is really important when we look at that data that's just been presented through the research, having some vigorous testing capability in a facility right here in Lot 14, right here in SA, is perfect. It's going to make sure you can be compliant, you can test and measure yourselves against whatever framework you're choosing to use, and also give you a competitive advantage in the marketplace that you can demonstrate you actually have confidence, digital trust is built in to your products and your services and your business. So what I might do now is actually just hand over to Sophie to talk a bit about what are the key things that A3C has to offer for small businesses in particular, and then we might round off with information specifically on those workshops that we're delivering. So let you step in there, Sophie.
Thank you, Paula. A little bit of a spot. Okay, to the next slide. Yeah. Sorry. There we go. So thank you, Paula, and thank you, everybody. A lot of those that research really resonated with me after nearly 2 years in this role, speaking to small businesses, which I'm sure are reflected in the GigCity customers. So I guess just pointing to this slide is this is a snapshot of all of our members. So at the moment, we are growing quite fast. So there's about 65 up on the screen. We've got about 10 more to kind of process. So we're growing really fast, which is a really wonderful thing to see, to be seen, to be collaborating. Lots of organisations are wanting to be involved, again, to lean in to help those small businesses. So our members span all the way from SMEs and cybersecurity startups, all the way through to global multinationals and everything in between. This includes not just cybersecurity providers, companies like SA Water, RAA, larger businesses with cybersecurity professionals that are here to kind of lean in for the greater good, identify issues that the industry faces and help solve those challenges. So you can see the kind of range of businesses and organisations really highlights the role that cyber has to play, is one that underpins and enables all sectors beyond our own to help drive economic growth and security for our nation. So I just want to share a few initiatives and ways in which the A3C is here to support small businesses. As Paula mentioned, she'll dive into the specifics for GigCity. So we've kind of come up with a few different initiatives, which are on the next slide, sorry. So I'll start with the affiliate membership. So affiliate membership is something that we have created after speaking with businesses for, you know, a year and a half, just about what they kind of need. And so what we've identified is that there's a huge gap in the market in terms of larger organisations. It's quite costly for them to engage with small businesses. And in turn, it's really costly for small businesses to engage with large organisations and their services. So what we've tried to do is kind of close that gap. And A3C members that are vendor providers, for example, have offered kind of everything up on screen here to help small businesses secure themselves. So this is a membership that costs $500 a year for a small business, because what we identified is anything above that price point is, you know, SMEs really start to question, because their dollars mean a lot to them. So it's designed to get you going and keep you going on a journey, which our members are there to support you. So free resources that are available outside of the membership as well, but they're a great start for a small business that doesn't know how to get started. So we've, yesterday we actually launched a free toolkit for small businesses. So what that does is step an SME through about 6 steps to achieve kind of immediate an uplift in resilience. So, you know, that includes things like implementing firewalls or teaching them what a firewall is. So really the basics just to get going. So that's our affiliate membership, which we haven't really focused on marketing yet. We're about to launch that in the next kind of few weeks, but we know that there will be a huge uptake in that. We've got a few members already that have taken that up, and we're just building that on ongoing feedback. Some other ways in which we're supporting small businesses is through the Cyber Clinics SA. So this is something that I've been working closely with Paula on, wearing both of her hats. So it's an initiative that that AusCyber partnered with Department for Innovation and Skills to deliver. So that's being delivered through the A3C. So the way in which that works is our trusted members, consultants from that membership base, deliver a free 1-hour workshop to a small business that they can just book online very easily. And it's basically like a cyber health check as such. So that small business will walk away from the day with actionable steps to take, whether it's through the A3C or not. It helps them create a better understanding of their cyber posture after a 1-minute brief consult. So we've actually seen a huge success with that. We only rolled that out as a pilot a few months ago, and we're actually at a stage now where we are increasing the offering from once a month to twice a month. So I'm sure we'll continue to see lots of success there. That's the slide actually. So that's it at the moment in terms of what the A3C can provide in terms of support. But like I said, as our membership grows, the more offerings we're able to offer as part of packages like this. So what I might do is just hand back to Paula to take you through the GigCity offering. Thanks, Paula.
Thanks, Sophie. So most recently, in collaboration with the Department for Innovation and Skills, we are really delighted to be able to offer a dedicated program of workshops over the course of 12 months exclusively for GigCity businesses. And this is in recognition of the fact that the GigCity network, being the only international city to form part of the US Ignite Smart Gigabit Communities program, is recognised as a key infrastructure asset here in South Australia, but as an asset for our nation, one that we need to actually take focus on and protect. So in that theme, the collaboration came together in order to bring some practical workshops for businesses within GigCity Network to help you start going through what we think would be the most effective way for you to start protecting your business. And from the data, what we saw through the research was the most underutilized part of that was actually implementing the essential aid. So the national framework identified as having the most impact to be able to secure your organisation is the least utilised and possibly the least understood as well. So having a 12-month program that steps you through right from understanding what the essential aid is and what the framework is there and intended to do, to actual practical workshops on how you can implement each of those categories that sit within it, each of those strategies, should I say, that sit within it. So that goes right through from understanding your own maturity level, where you're currently sitting, through to application control, patching, etc., application hardening, backups, and so on. And that is aimed at also just building that knowledge and awareness and capability throughout that 12 months, coupled with all of the other opportunities you've got there ready to access and consume. These workshops will be delivered through the capability of the A3C member base, of our professionals that sit within our member base, that they are trusted and we're very confident in their capability and the quality of their services. And these workshops will be commencing next month, so not too far away. So we're really excited about that, and we will have a lot more information coming out, which will be shared with you around that. And then no doubt you'll be inundated with marketing on it. But these workshops kick off in July and they'll run through till end of June 23. But they're absolutely free. So I would strongly encourage you to get involved and absolutely make the most of that and learn as much as you can through that process. And so, yeah, we'll get some more information coming out in some more weeks' time, but also just to note, on your way out, there's some further information about the clinics, as well as more information about A3C, as well as some merchandise that you are welcome to take and make the most of as well. So I might leave it there and hand back to you, Sandra, if that's okay.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. So once again, a little thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so those cybersecurity workshops being made available for free to the GigCity community is really going to help fast track cybersecurity awareness and posture. But let's be frank, we all wear a lot of hats and there's a lot to do in our startups and scale-ups. So yes, we want to do it, but it takes time and it takes effort and it takes resources. So I suspect, like me, you ask, how can I do this efficiently and effectively? Can I ask, how many people here use Xero for their finance and accounting? Okay, there's a few hands up that have gone up. So I would say that Xero has revolutionised finances for many small business. It's made it so much easier, so much cheaper. I'm really excited to introduce Stavros Patinotis, who, along with John Sirocco, who's online, they've well and truly put themselves in the shoes to bring together Cyber OnRamp to help you efficiently and effectively lift your cybersecurity posture. So like Xero, you actually need to do the upfront work to actually get it set up properly. Like, you need to know where your vision is, and that's what you'll get from the education. You know, that will set you up with going, I know what I want, and then it's about how you implement what you want. And I always say that if you don't lead, you'll be led astray. So, you know, you do really want to know what it is that you want to achieve. So the same, I think, is required when you're looking at setting up your cybersecurity. So I'd say, like Xero has revolutionised your finances, Cyber OnRamp really has the potential to revolutionise cybersecurity for your organisation. So Stavros, over to you.
Great, thank you, Sandra. Okay, welcome everyone. It's great to have you here and dedicating some of your time learning about the importance of cybersecurity. EscapeNet is a telecommunication company for more than 25 years now. It's a bit of an outdated banner that we have here. And as most of you know, we design and operate the GigCity network. And as Sandra mentioned, it's the first and only GigCity network outside of Chattanooga in USA. Security has long been a part of our business because we store a wealth of information about our customers, from financial information, their credit card details, their website, their email access, their mobile phone records, their telephone records. So we've always sort of had a target on our back as a information store and a way to get through the customers. So we've always been sort of attuned to trying to protect our customers and being on top of cybersecurity. And with that in mind, I'd like to provide some of the background as to the genesis of Cyber OnRamp and the reason we're here today. So internet globalization sort of means that threat actors most often come from outside of Australia. Governments from around the world have been warning about security threats and the general lack of preparedness of businesses to deal with those threats. And that's a bit of an interesting point that we should take note of, that it's government, really not industry, that have been pointing this out. Our own government's been very vocal in, oops, let's move our notes correctly, very vocal in getting this message out. Not only have they constructed great resources to guide businesses by way of the ACSC Essential 8 and the Small Business Guidelines, both of these guidelines set out standards that businesses should be adopting in order to protect themselves. And these resources are supported locally, like the likes of Paula and her team at A3C. Industry is aware of the cybersecurity issue, but very heavily focused on enterprise, who are more attuned to these security issues and have much bigger budgets. And their solutions are often expensive or not applicable to small business, and very sort of staff intensive and resource intensive, and therefore outside of the reach of small businesses. As the security landscape is changing and threats are becoming more complicated, along with the Department of Innovation and Skill, who commissioned the cybersecurity review of GigCity. As they're becoming more complicated and sophisticated, this was recognised by the Department of Innovation and Skill, and we commissioned a security review of the GigCity program. The resulting report generated some key action points around better documentation, some improvements to the web portals, and in addition, the GigCity network is also undergoing some physical improvements by programmer works to secure pit lids throughout the entire network, which incidentally is something that we believe is unique to a carrier in Australia. There's also some resiliency improvements, which will apply to the network segment from north of Intervolve data center to URDC, including diverse cable entries to URDC. Overall, GigCity is a solid network that allows us to provide great services upon. However, a desired outcome from the onset was to investigate how we could augment the network to improve the security of our GigCity participants. And on this point, we concluded that there was no real measures that were affordable or effective in achieving this outcome on the network directly. The result being that GigCity consumers wouldn't really benefit in a meaningful way from any of the advanced changes that were proposed. We understood from this that the best outcomes would be made within organisations, and ultimately they're the custodians of their network, their IT infrastructure, and their staff. So whose business is it to manage security? Well, really, it's everyone's business. It's not about the individual. Cybersecurity is quite literally everyone's business. To an extent, our businesses lie in each other's hands. We need to protect not only our own business, but our business partners and our customers. Attacks that affect smaller businesses and supply chains can have significant knock-on effects down the line. An attack that affects one can affect all, and our supply chain is arguably our most vulnerable vector. For example, We know that a lot of small businesses have no or less cyber security measures than compared to larger businesses. And when you consider a small business that has a relationship with a larger business, then that small business can be used as a target to infiltrate a large business as they're coming from a place of trust. So really, if you value your business with your customers, it's really up to you to protect your customers and in turn protect yourself. So are you prepared? Small businesses really are busier in their own operations, are really least equipped to recognize and protect against cyber attacks. Businesses need to have realistic expectations and appreciate that it's only a matter of time before problems begin. We need businesses to understand the real risks they face. A lot think that this doesn't apply to them, but every business your business is under attack every day. Every spam email is a potential attack. Every spam call, every brute force password attempt. It doesn't stop. Attacks, exploits are often silent and seemingly benign. The aim of attackers today is to lay low and not be detected. The delay, the excuses, and denial even needs to stop, and instead careful consideration of these issues needs to be had in relation to your business. We appreciate it costs money to implement security, but what's the real cost of no action? Failing to act has big implications. These differ from business to business and industry to industry. So, for example, will your business survive being on the front page news for a data breach? Will your customers give you another chance? Will your insurance pay out on a cyber security incident when you haven't locked your front door? Can you afford to pay your staff to do nothing while systems are rebuilt for days or more likely weeks? Can you afford to disappoint your customers? Can you afford the lawsuit for leaking intellectual property? And will you retain staff when you can't pay them because your systems are offline? So the list goes on, and we could be here all day talking about different examples, but there will be scenarios that apply to every business. So clearly this is important, and clearly it needs your attention. And this led us to create Cyber OnRamp. We've done something unique in bringing together some best-of-breed software and packages in one solution, and we've focused on addressing the small business gap. Cyber OnRamp is forged from peer-review security frameworks adapted to small business. It's a multi-layered approach using sort of defense in depth across your people, process, and technology. We understand and appreciate that good cybersecurity is both time-consuming and hard. And with Cyber OnRamp, we're simplifying it for you. Some of these best practices are procedural, some are technical. Cyber OnRamp includes both security technologies, the technical component, and administrative assistance to put your business on the path to compliance and build your defense in depth. The outcome we're seeking is really to help you achieve your cybersecurity best practice in your business very quickly, so in a matter of days really, and as effortlessly as possible, and importantly, in an affordable manner. So about on Cyber OnRamp, so as mentioned before, attacks are increasing in their sophistication. They're multifaceted to gather information, use your resources, impersonate, gain access to other systems, ransom, cause interruption to your operation or your supply chains. And our detection capabilities use aggregated information from many sources, including your email, your network, and endpoint information to provide a holistic view of the environment, and that provides important contextual information to the AI engine that drives the detection. These security technologies can also be complemented with human oversight from a security operations center 24/7, depending on your business's needs. We assist with the education in terms of routinely testing your staff with imitation phishing emails and any breaches or positive any breaches can be reported on to be used for an opportunity for training. So cybersecurity is not a set and forget endeavour, and this is equally true to both the technological and the process requirements contained within the different frameworks. And taking this into account, Cyber OnRamp provides regular status reports delivered straight to your inbox. And what that allows you to do at a glance is you'll see your compliance levels and you understand where improvements and anomalies are detected. Improvements required and anomalies detected. At the moment, these reports will be against the ACSC Small Business and Essential 8 frameworks. As I've mentioned, one aspect of cybersecurity is administrative, and this part can't be automated. However, we will provide you with starter templates and checklists to assist your compliance journey. Cyber OnRamp helps small business build resilience. It instills confidence to your customers and your team. It helps educate you to the risk and best practice. It even lets you trust your email again. Compliance is confidence. It's knowing you've done the best you can, that you've done what's expected of you, and as a member of the business community, protecting not only your business, but everybody's business. In conclusion, the risks are intensifying, and so are the ramifications for lack of action, which are growing. However, we're here to help you take action and get you started on this journey. And we have an introductory offer. In terms of the onboarding for Cyber OnRamp, which is free, and monthly cost for this service, for example, starts at $10 and it's $44 a month for a complete coverage solution. We'd love to have a chat with you about it, and you can register online at our website at cyberonramp.com.au and book a chat with our team. There's a mountain of value that we can give you with, including a free trial, and get you started. So that's all from me. Thank you. The registration on the website is via the contact button on the top right-hand corner of our screen. So it's easy to do. It's no obligation, and we'd be happy to hear from you. Thank you.
So once again, thank you. And now, John, I know that you're online. One of these is for you. So I know you've been working very hard on this. Okay, so we've now got some time for questions, both from the room and online. We might start with the room first. Is there any questions that anyone would like to ask? Asking the first question is always the hardest. No, and any questions online, Philip?
No, I think for now.
No, okay, wonderful, thank you. I think people are keen to have a drink. So for those online, we'll now end the session. Thanks once again to everyone who has attended, and thank you to all our speakers, really appreciate it. As a next step, as you can see, there is some great resources here being made available for free to the GigCity community, but I think the value of both the training and the exposure to the frameworks to understand the what, and then rolling into what's on offer from EscapeNet through Cyber OnRamp to allow you to very quickly get your toe in that water and implementing it, or improving what you have now. They're both two amazing opportunities. So I would definitely encourage you to register. And so what we'll be doing post this today is actually we'll email you out the registration details for both those things. So they're pretty easy to access and certainly make more information available to you with the links to the websites, etc. So I know a number of you have indicated interest in the tour of A3C, and Nick is going to be doing that at 4:15, so in about 20 minutes time. So he's going to come and collect you from this room and take you on that tour. For the rest of us, we can probably start with some drinks and nibbles. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.